Thank you, sir. One thing I must admit at the fag end or at the end of a professional career, that in younger days, of course in postgraduate days, Dr. Mitra was a teacher. Our theory was that we work outside the state, come back to the state during Durga Puja. There is a lot of hopes that you have created, and I'm sure our children and grandchildren, they will work in the state and go for a vacation during the puja and other vacations. That day is not far off. Thank you very much, sir. May I now request Mr. Sajan Jindal to give his address.
Honorable Dr. Mitra, President of the Chamber, Mr. Ambrish Das Gupta, Mr. Abbasi from the Ministry of Steel, Dr. Gupta. There are so many faces in the audience today who I know, Mr. Jhawar who is here, Dr. Mukherjee, Mr. Malay Mukherjee, and so many faces are here. So first of all, I would like to thank Bengal Chamber for bestowing me with this great award. It means a lot to me because my father was given this award in 2004. I still remember very well that it was in ITC, and I was sitting and this award was being given. So it's kind of very clear memory to me. So it really means a lot, and I really from bottom of my heart I would like to thank Bengal Chamber and Dr. Mitra who has stayed back in spite of my big delay of coming here for this award. So thank you very much, sir. Well, friends, steel is as Dr. Mitra mentioned in his address, is a very important industry, and all of you are somehow connected. Most of you are connected with the steel industry. It is a very, very important industry globally, and as the country, any country develops, then steel becomes very important as a material for development. And that's why Government of India and various state governments have given a lot of support and a lot of encouragement for the steel industry. At JSW Steel, some of you would want to know what and how we have done to this level. We have, Dr. Mitra mentioned that JSW has become the largest steel producer, but I would humbly submit that maybe for a year we have produced little more steel than Steel Authority, but Steel Authority is far bigger a company, and Tata Steel is of course an iconic steel company. So I would rather say that JSW Steel remains the number 3 steel company in the country. It doesn't matter on the production. Of course, one big advantage in JSW Steel is that we have singular leadership, and under my leadership, I can take decisions which is not very easy for a public sector to take, or a large conglomerate like Tata Group to take such decisions. So I can take decisions very fast without looking for what will happen if something went wrong, because I'm an entrepreneur myself. So therefore, as Dr. Mitra mentioned about this land, because my father was a farmer before he started the industrial activity. So I connect with the farmers myself very much, and when he told me that the farmers are a little agitated or little feeling uncomfortable because the project has gotten delayed, excuse me. So I really sort of appreciated that issue, and I immediately I told Dr. Mitra that, sir, please don't have any pressure on that, and we will give them the land back without any money, as well as we will make it cultivable so that you know, whatever losses they have had for so many years, they should not suffer. So you know, it came from within, and it was very natural to me that this kind of answer, and Dr. Mitra really appreciated at that time that, you know, this is something which very few people would do. So coming back to steel, I think steel is also a similar sort of an industry where you know, so many people are employed, so much of activity goes on, and it's a very interesting industry. Once you are in steel business, then no other business seems as attractive. It encompasses so many things. It absorbs you completely. So, you know, I have 4 or 5 different businesses besides steel, cement, power generation, port business, infrastructure business, software business. So, there are many other businesses which are more profitable than the steel business, but I spend 90% of my time on steel because I'm an engineer and I enjoy that part of the business. So, therefore, it is you know, very interesting business. When you see hot metal flowing through from your blast furnace, or steel being cast in your slab casters, or hot strip mill is making coils, you know, you feel very enlightened and very energized by seeing that energy which is flowing through the blast furnaces. So therefore it is very interesting industry. Now, what is happening to steel industry globally today? I thought I'll just take a few minutes to explain. You know, as we all know, that China over the last 15 years have grown at a very rapid pace, and they created this ecosystem across their country to build steel plants, and they were building steel plants like we are building, or we are making chapatis at home. Our mothers or wives make rotis at home. They were making steel plants like that. So they created the complete ecosystem, and every year they were building 100 million tons of new steel capacity. What we have today, 100 million ton capacity in India as a whole, out of which 80-85 is running. Like that, they were building every year this capacity, and they created, within 12 to 14 months, they would build a blast furnace which would make 2-3 million tons of hot metal. So they created everything, and so they over created capacity. And Chinese, like Indians, not as much Indians, but Chinese are big speculators. You know, they love to speculate. So they created this capacity. Every state, provincial government was fighting with the other one or competing with the other one to create bigger capacity in their state, and that led to overcapacity of a huge magnitude in China. Today they have about 1200 million tons of steel capacity, out of 2,200 million tons globally, out of which 1,600 million tons is being produced globally. China produces 800 million tons, or a little over 800 million tons. So now with this slowdown in China, China has started to export in a very big way. And today they export nearly 10 million tons of steel every month from China to the world. Now this is a huge capacity or huge imports that we have to absorb in any part of the world, because the rest of the world is producing 800-700 million tons, and out of that 100 million tons is coming from China alone, whereas Japan, Korea, they also export. Japan exports about 40-45 million tons, Korea exports about 25-30 million tons. So overall this region, Japan, Korea, China, has become a very large region for surplus of steel. And that's what is creating a big problem globally. So steel industry in India suffered because of that, because we have FTA with Japan and Korea, from where steel can flow in without any duties. And they have a huge advantage over old steel plants where they are already written off. Plus they have no interest cost, they have no depreciation. So therefore, they have these surpluses. They have, Japan and Korea in particular have protected their own home market, because they don't allow, they have a very strong make in Japan or make in Korea feeling, where their customers, they will not import the steel. So they will, and so they sell in their home market at over $500 and export at $350. So this is the kind of thing Japan and Korea does. China, of course, they don't care whether they make money or they don't make money, because they have a lot of social obligation, employment and stuff like that, and there will be a lot of unrest if the steel plants were to shut down. So they keep on producing and exporting the world over. So now gradually all over the world, every country is trying to protect their boundaries, and the USA has put anti-dumping, Europe has put, South America, Brazil, every other country has put in. Plus on top of this, there is a huge currency challenge. Foreign exchange, the Brazilian currency has devalued 60%, 70%, Russian has devalued 100%. So therefore there are like huge devaluation which is happening, which again is exaggerating the whole problem on steel. So I went and met finance minister and requested him that unless something is done, it will be very difficult to safeguard this industry. And I must say that Government of India is very, under the present government, is very sensitive and very pro-industry, and they have brought in safeguard duty on steel, 20% on flat rolled products, especially hot rolled products, and the rest of the products like cold rolled and tor steel and wire rod is hopefully will follow. We are pushing the government that every product has to be protected, including alloy steel. Otherwise, we cannot protect this industry, and we will really suffer on account of overcapacity in the region. So I think the government understands that, and so I thought I will just give a little update on that. As far as JSW Steel is concerned, as I mentioned, that we are right now 14 million ton capacity, and by December this year, in next 3 months, 2 of our blast furnaces are getting modernized because they have completed their life. So the capacity will move up to 18 million tons, and then our plan is that by 2020 we want to take our capacity to 30 million tons as a company. So that's the plan, and for that we have made all the planning is done, and we are working and moving towards that. So that's a very ambitious goal, very ambitious target, but with the support of, as Dr. Mitra mentioned, that India is the only country in the world which has got this 6% positive growth. So which is an amazing statistics, and where everywhere else in the world there is a negative growth, and we are positive, not only positive but 6% positive. So it's a very positive thing, and these kind of positive sentiments only push us to produce more and export more from India. So this is what we are doing. So once again, friends, I would like to thank the Bengal Chamber and Dr. Mitra for honoring me today with this award, and I really take back this award with great pride. On our investment in Bengal, as I was mentioning, that we have this beautiful location in Shalboni, which is an amazing place. A lot of our CSR activity is happening there. A lot of medical facilities and other activities are happening there. We have built a small beautiful township there. The whole land is fully fenced, fully boundary wall has been created. And I was very keen to build this plant, to start this, and the present government, under the dynamic leadership of is really transferred to us, and Dr. Mitra really helped us and supported us in that endeavor. But unfortunately, because of this iron ore and coal matter, this got little confused and got into little trouble. So we could not do it till now. We are still awaiting. Now the new MMDR bill has come. So hopefully, as soon as this gets resolved, we will start working on this project. In the meantime, we are building this 2.4 million ton cement plant at Shalboni, because as I said, that the infrastructure is already there. People are waiting for employment. People are very excited about this. So we are looking at that. We are building this cement facility to start with, and hopefully thereafter, once you have your foot in the door, then you can start working, and once you have establishment, then it becomes very easy. Then this will become automatic first port of call for us. Whenever we want to do something, then automatically you have this space and we can build there. And Bengal is one of the best states to build industries today. I go and tell everywhere that, you know, this is one place where even if I'm walking on the street and if somebody recognizes me, he will ask me that, when are you building this steel plant? Only in Kolkata this happens. So this is really a so I get very positive vibes whenever I come here. So I can assure Dr. Mitra and all of you that hopefully one day will come when this steel plant will also happen here after the cement plant is set up. So once again, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jindal. It was very important for all of us to understand from him what is the difference between the last 50 years normal commodity cycles in steel, which was driven by growth in Chinese demand also, vis-a-vis the current cycle where China from a demand growing becomes a surplus dumping country. So everybody is worried, when is the light at the end of the tunnel and how long is that tunnel? I'm sure some of the hints we have got that we have to be patient. We now from Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industries will present mementos to our distinguished guests. In fact, that completes the part A of the pre-lunch session, and we'll switch over to part B, and I'll request Bengal Chamber to can I invite all our guests to come back and take their seats, please? Can I invite Mr. Sushim Banerjee is here? Yeah, he's here. Mr. Maulay Mukherjee, please, the rule here is once the biggest speakers are there, then people start. Mr. Vishal Agarwal. Mr. Shashikant Sharma. Mr. Shashikant Sharma from Mr. Subroto Mitra. Could we request Mr. Subroto Mitra and Mr. Shashikant Sharma to come on the stage, please? Ladies and gentlemen, since we are running almost an hour behind schedule, we will have the lunch instead of 1:30 at 1:45, and the lunch instead of for being 1 hour, it will be for 45 minutes. That will allow us to come back on schedule at for the concluding session. Tania? Mr. Subroto Mitra. We will start the session. First, I would like to invite Mr. Molloy Mukherjee to make his presentation. I think it will be, for anybody in the steel industry, it will be rather uncomfortable to introduce Mr. Molloy Mukherjee, because from India, probably this surname tends to put their name on the global map of steel. Mr. Mukherjee has been on the board of ArcelorMittal and CEO of Mittal Steel. He, after completing his innings in Mittal Steel and ArcelorMittal, he worked as CEO of Essar Steel, and he is considered an authority on the steel business. All aspects of steel business, be it raw material, be it the product, and be it so, Mr. Molloy Mukherjee, could you kindly?
It's a pleasure to be with you all. And you know, after you've heard so much about the steel industry from all the distinguished guests who were here just before, I would like to be a little more, what I would say, objective in what I'm going to present. Because the basis of talking about anything is to understand both the positives and negatives, and what are the issues which we need to tackle. First and foremost, I would like to say that when I look at China, I look at it as an opportunity for India, not as a threat. The opportunity is to learn how they went about in expanding their steel capacity, what they did, and in order to some extent, what is that, from that learning we could do. Now, before I get into the details, I would just like to show you what is the economic indicators which we have between India and China. If you really look at it, we are still, these are the 2014 figures, which clearly shows we are far behind. And particularly, when you start looking at the GDP composition by sectors, you would see that The industry sector there at 42%, we are at 24%. And that is the sector where Made in India is all about. That this is a sector, the industry sector, which needs. The other issue which somehow my figures are not matching with, these are the CIA headquarters, which is not matching with what the Joint Secretary talked about, the GDP, the public debt. The public debt, as you can see here, for us is 51%, whereas for them it is 15% of GDP. But when you look at the GDP figures, that itself gives you an indication from 7 to 17. So you can understand that there is a long way for us to catch up with China, but I have always looked at it that this is an opportunity which we should look at, because as people, as with our enterprise values, we can definitely go and do, if not better, surpass them. As you would have heard that the steel industry is an indicator of economic growth. The increase in steel industry output has a direct effect on increase of employment, supply chain effect and consumption effect. These are all from various papers which have come about, and as Dr. Mitra was also mentioning that in the Foundry Park, 10,000 is going to give rise to another 20,000, and the upstream and downstream. So these are, steel industry has a significant multiplier effect, and all countries which have developed have had this advantage of having their steel industry. Whether you look at it from USA, Europe, Germany, whichever one you look at it, it has been the steel industry which has given the impetus to the growth. China, as we can see from this slide, had a rapid expansion from 2000 to 2007. If you look at it, in 1967, India was producing 6 million tons and China was producing 14 million tons, a gap of 8 million. Today, the gap is nearly 700 million. And you can understand, this is a gap which is very difficult in order to be able to wish away. The gap is there, you cannot. If you look at it, that the rapid expansion has taken place at practically even 100 million tons a year, which is today what India is producing. So if you look at it, in fact, I was present in China in 1996 in the month of June when China indicated they have crossed the rate of 100 million tons. That is in 96. And in 7 years they went from 100 to 200. And that is something which I believe is possible.